we did have, I think it was Louis Hesketh in that car, which is why it says Hesketh on the side there. But Louis Hesketh had the unfortunate problem of barely ever showing up. I think he showed up to one race this season and flipped the car in all 3 races at Snetterton. So we decided to give Tom Hackett a go, and I think that decision has already paid off handsomely. But yeah, of course, Hunter Simulation always seem to go. I don't know why this is. Somebody can maybe explain it to me. Maybe it's because all the top drivers from the previous season tend to leave us, but we always seem to do really, really badly in the even number seasons, which tend to be our title defenses. So we won the first season with Mia Rose. Then in season 2, Mia Rose left halfway through, and we were defending the championship as best we could, but we ended up being beaten by Louis Hartley and Gravel Trap Racing, of course. Both championships. Then season 3, Mike Bell won for us in the Infinities. And then this season, Mike Bell, of course, left to join Smart Power before quitting entirely. And then, yeah, it's sort of been making do, I guess, with whoever's available and whoever's decently quick. We did, of course, have Matthew Williams threatening to quit mid-event at Rockingham, which was not the greatest moment, as Tom Hackett then, who's probably not got a whole lot of ballast on board that car, then crosses the start-finish line to begin his first flying lap. Now, turn 1 is a constant radius sort of right-hander there here at Brno. See Tom Hackett soaring away at the wheel to get the Birch-Goltacular Hyundai turned in. He's got to the out of that corner. Turn 2 is a little kink, then it's a long run all the way up to turn 3. You can see the sort of pine forest in the background here. So here we go, turn 3, left-hander leading us in almost immediately into turn 4, a 90-degree right-hander, but still fairly long corners though, so you do have to wait a little bit to get on the power fully. Up into 6th gear then as we go downhill towards turn 5, which is a sort of right-hander, almost a sort of hairpin, but a little bit higher speed. Another right-hander of turn 6 follows as there's a little bit of grass cutting from Tom Hackett then. That goes into a sort of a bowl. The left-handers of 7 and 8 before we go into the right-hander of 9. Now we are looking still back at Tom Hackett, who is just negotiating turn 8 there. Sorry, because the camera changed, so I'm sort of trying to figure out where we are again. We are, yeah, definitely just gone through turn 9 now, onto the sort of one of the back straights then towards turn 10. The problem is this circuit is it looks very, very similar all the way through. There's not a whole lot of landmarks identifying it at certain corners then. Into turn 10 we go, another sort of right-hand constant radius hairpin. Now we got the 11 and 12 chicane coming up. Who is setting purple sectors at the moment then? Somewhat unsurprisingly, given the pace he's shown this season as Tom Hackett exits turn 12. 14, another sort of chicane segment, but here's Loic Moynier to set the fastest time so far of the session. It's the only time of the session, 2 minutes 12.9. Noah Tuamela has actually pipped him in the first sector, gone a tenth quicker, but nobody else going especially quickly. Yeah, Patrick O'Magnuson, 1.4 seconds off the pace. James Haskell, in only his second appearance, goes 4th fastest. Tom Hackett is just beaten by Loic Moynier there. So Moynier 2 minutes 12.9, Tom Hackett 2 minute 13.0, so 0.024 between our top 2 at the present moment then. So good first effort from Tom Hackett, and he's got a lot less ballast than Loic Moynier, but shout out to Moynier, he's put an absolutely spectacular lap in there, despite missing the previous round at Alton Park. He has really done a spectacular job all season, and really come out on top in some big fights here. And it looks like Oliver Hargitay has joined us then, so that's great to see, because Oliver had to go to a hospital yesterday for an emergency, but we're hearing that while he is a little bit exhausted from that, he's decided he wants to come on and give it a go, despite obviously not having the chance to do a whole lot of practice. So great to see Oliver Hargitay at least feeling well enough to drive, and we're not expecting too much from him on track, but it will be good to see him nonetheless, and certainly his health has got to be the priority here. It's Tuamela. Must be Matthew Lee to go 3rd fastest then. So Lee really thriving with the low amount of ballast on board that car. At the end of the season, you see all the front runners in the top 10 will be carrying success ballast that they've earned over the course of the season. So let's not forget Moynier, 75 kilograms. Lorenzo Eterovic has a new driver ballast, also 75 kilograms. Carl Benton, I believe, is it's a drug, but we haven't seen him on track so far. I don't think we've seen Carl Benton since either last season or season 2 when he drove for Gravel Trap. So he's got substitute ballast if he chooses to show up. And if you get Oliver Hargitai's got 48 kilograms as well, which will not please him too much, given that he's already got a bit of a headache and now he's got to carry a lot of weight around. Peter Schumann's got 57 kilograms. Louis Hartley's got a whole 66 kilograms as well, so less than Moynier, but yeah, Hartley down in 9th at the moment, 2.8 seconds off the pace, as it's Hackett that is currently setting the pace on this lap, nearly 3/10 quicker in the first sector, a little bit off in the middle as it all just hags the wild edge of the car through the final corner, and it's 2 minutes 12.0 for Tom Hackett. That's provisional pole position by 4/10 then. Very, very impressive lap by the Englishman. 194, looking good then for another strong grid position in race 1. Matthew Lee beats Tuomela with his second time there, just 6/10 then off of Hackett's pole time. So very impressive from Matt Lee with 7 minutes 40 left on the clock. Here comes Horton for Celtic Racing. And Andy Horton, who was, I did say was going to arrive late. Looks like he has arrived in time for qualifying then. So him and Hargitai timing it just about right, although we're yet to see Eterovic, Horvath, Schunemann, Sorema or Hargitai set a lap time just yet, but I believe Sorema is out on track at the moment. As we look at James Haskell, who is just collecting himself. I think this is a bit of a scruffy lap he's in the middle of at the moment. Great to see so many new drivers really impressing at this late phase of the season, and that's really what the success bias was meant to encourage as well. So that really shows Nick Homewood and Remco De Zeo doing their job as the championship organisers over the course of this season. Oh, and there's Sorema has looks like he's abandoned that attempted lap there because he was facing the track backwards in the gravel. So 6.5 minutes left on the clock, and we look at Patrick Magnussen then down in 7th, setting a personal best time in the first sector. Louis Hartley has been shuffled down to 10th then, and we still got a number of really quick drivers yet to set times on the board. Mark Horvath is now on track as well. He's setting personal bests too, along with Magnussen. So let's keep an eye on those. There is Horvath for Finavon Green. Looks like a blue card, isn't it? But it is a Finavon Green, I'm assured. As Haskell, 2.2 seconds off the pace, but goes up to 7th place then. So good lap from James Haskell. As Horvath across the line, it's got to be better than 15, surely. And it's 5th, a whole 10 places gained then for Mark Horvath, the Dutch driver. And that's only 4/10 off the back of Noah Tuomela. So surprisingly quite spacious in the top 5 with Stanislas Bajard only 61 thousandths of a second off as Magnussen goes third fastest, but Krzysztof Szylski has set a purple first sector for Optiminal Esports. So let's have a look at Krzysztof as he does a little bit more grass cutting and curb hopping there too through the middle sector. Then he's just going through 7 and 8 at the moment. Let's hope that didn't lose him too much time here. You watch him just negotiating here for the middle sector. Shouldn't be too far the road here as he just drifts out wide onto the racing line on exit through turn 9 there. It's the right-hander of turn 10, positioning himself well from the outside, and that's actually Moynier at 7 and 8, of course. Just drifting the rear tyres out, so the ballast clearly affecting him, but he is up on Tom Hackett's pole time by just over 3/10 as well. Apologies if I have to stop to cough, ladies and gentlemen, because it's very, very hot and dry today. So I've just had dinner. I've tried to get some ice cream down, but there is going to be throat problems, and unfortunately Chris doesn't want to help in commentary, which is fair enough because it is scary. Trust me, as you see Szylski, oh, set the pole position time. There we go. He nailed it all together there. 2 minutes 11.2. And Szylski then, another newcomer in the 27, impressing 7/10 clear of Tom Hackett. So that's quite the lap he's put together there. But Loic Mounier is going even faster than in first two sectors. Noah Tuomela now sets a 42.4 in the first sector then. So track heating up with 3.5 minutes left to go. And at the time's tumbling down rapidly. We also see Mounier being beaten in the middle sector by Matthew Lee, but he beats Krzysztof Szylski by 6 tenths there. 2 minutes 10.6 then. Matthew Lee is up in the middle sector then. A little bit down in the first sector on Mounier, but there's potentially a second row of the grid here up for grabs for Matthew Lee. He powers towards the line. What's it going to be for the Vauxhall driver? It's second on the grid. There we go. So it's really who's going to be last over the line that profits here. There's Tuomela. He's just a little bit up on Loic Mounier through the first sector then. Just a 7/100ths of a second. Out into the middle sector, into the final sector, I should say, we go. And Tuomela is 3 tenths down on his best in that middle sector there. 61.1 and about 4 tenths off of Matthew Lee here. So, yeah, this isn't looking too positive for Tuomela. He might be able to gain a place or two here, maybe past Tom Hackett and Magnussen ahead of him. So, 5th up for grabs. Is it going to be P5? Oh, it's P2. There we go. He did claw it back in the final sector, just a 10th shy of Mounier there. So the KV86s are set up superbly well here. Here comes Peter Schoenemann towards the line down in 13th position. Surely he can sneak into the top 10 here. Or just misses out 11th position then behind Thomas Raschke. He's 2.7 seconds off the pace. So big field spread here from Mounier down to Peterovic, who of course has got the 75 kilograms of ballast that's going to affect him, not just in quali, but in race 1 as well. But Tom Hackett there, he is up on his latest lap then. Watch him negotiate the middle sector here out through 9. Yeah, going as wide as he can on exit there. And this must be not turn 10 that he's coming up to, but I think this is the 11 and 12 chicane then. And this is looking good here. Final corner then for Tom Hackett. As he comes towards the line, can he hack it? Is he going to be pole position once more? Yes, it is. 209.9. 7 tenths ahead of Loic Mounier with only a minute left for the Frenchman to respond. But it's Matthew Lee that's also lighting up the timing screens then in 4th position at the moment as Tuomela sets a 42.2, a 10th quicker than Hackett in the first sector then. Matthew Lee crosses the line and it's 2nd position, just under 3 tenths quicker then. 45 seconds left in the session as Tuomela absolutely hanging the rear of that Toyota out. KV86 looking to wrap up Teams Championship at the end of race 1. It's looking very, very likely that they will. But how dearly they would love to have at least one or maybe both cars on the front row here. All down to this final sector now for Noah Tuomela. Can the Finn pull this one off here in the Czech Republic? And a good lap from Haskell there to go 10th fastest to just knock out Louis Hartley by 3 tenths of a second out of the top 10. And there we go. Tuomela goes 3rd. So that's his session done because I think the checker flag came up just before he got to cross the line there. Mounier in the middle of his final effort though. So let's watch him. Crucial lap now for our points leader. But at the moment, he is going to outqualify Louis Hartley. And if the race finishes with Mounier 4th and Louis Hartley 9th, then he will outscore his championship rival by the 8 points he needs to seal it. But look at this. Matthew Lee has had to abandon that lap despite going purple in the first sector. So the track evolution really ramping up. And it's Mounier that's 2 tenths quicker than Tom Hackett through the first sector. And Hackett is on another lap as well. But it's not as quick as the one Mounier is on. Szylski has gone 5th fastest, 2:11.0. But it's all down to Mounier versus Hackett then for pole position as Hackett sets a purple middle sector. Let's look at Mounier's middle sector then. Can he beat a 60.4? He's just going through the technical. This is out onto turn 9 then. Turn 10 awaits and he'll get just a faint slipstream from, I think that's Tuomela or Magnussen ahead of him. has gotten himself up to 9th at the moment. We'll have to see how that would affect the championship standings if it finishes as is, but there's still plenty to go. As Thomas Raschke sets the 5th fastest time there. Brilliant qualifying effort from the German there, and that's his best qualifying of the season, so no ballast. Track ramping up right at the end there, really playing to his advantage now, but it's all down to Loic Mounier, just a few corners to go. He is up by another 2/10 then in the middle sector then. So is he going to beat Tom Hackett by 4/10, or is it going to fall away from him? Is the ballast going to stop him right at the end? Oliver Hargitay, it's his Goldtacular. Hunter Birch up to 8th then. Mounier 4th at the moment. Is it going to be pole position for the championship lead? He's put everything on the line here. It is 2 minutes, 9 seconds, 0.346. That is the pole time. And Mounier does a big spin in celebration there. And why shouldn't he? Because that has brought him one step closer to sealing the championship here right at the end of season 4 then. So it's Mounier on pole position. Unfortunately, Magnussen only able to get up to 4th with his effort, though, but a very strong finish for him nonetheless. And that is qualifying concluded then. So Mounier would get, there we go, that pole position ahead of Tom Hackett by just under 4/10 in the end. But a good effort from the Englishman nonetheless. He will start 2nd on the grid. Matthew Lee, a fellow Brit, will start 3rd ahead of Patrick Magnussen from Iceland. Noah Tuomela will start 5th ahead of Thomas Raschke, and Raschke really punching above his weight there, or, well, he's not got a whole lot of weight on that car to start with, let's be honest. But neither does Krzysztof Szyzielski, who starts 7th. Mark Horvath will start 8th ahead of James Haskell, and then Oliver Hargitay, despite his recent trip to the hospital, will round out the top 10, so great qualifying effort there from Oliver, the Hungarian. Stanislas Bajard will just miss out on the top 10 for Operation McNuggies. He starts 11th. Nick Homeward will start 12th ahead of Louis Hartley. Alexander Serema will start 14th ahead of Peter Schumann. Then it's Joshua Dexter, Andy Horton, and Lorenzo Iterovic that round out the field. So there we go. Qualifying concludes then. And just a reminder then, so if it finishes like this, with Louis Hartley 9th and Loic Mounier 1st, that would be an 11-point swing for Loic Mounier. So he would get the 8-point advantage he needs, plus 3 more on Louis Hartley to seal that championship then. So a lot of pressure on both of these men then, as we wait for the race to begin. And Thomas Raschke has got the best opportunity to get a top 6, top 7, maybe even top 5, depending on how things work out. Finish. He's, I don't think, finished better than 7th or 8th so far this season. And even then, usually he's just on the fringes of the top 10 as well. But I think his best result was 9th at Silverstone, if I'm not mistaken. So Thomas Raschke looking to really surprise us today. Usually, he always says much better in endurance racing because it gives him more laps to for his consistency to shine. But the grid is populating now. We're just waiting for the middle section to arrive. It's almost like conducting an orchestra here. Let's see if there's anything interesting in the comments. No, there is not then. So, as we wait for Szyzielski, Horvath, who now arrives, just 3 drivers left to go. Just Magnussen now to appear. And now we should be waiting for the lights then. Difficult to see from this angle, of course, but once Mounier goes, we will know that the race is underway then. So here we go then. Loic Mounier leads the field away. The lights go out and we are green at the Brno circuit here in the Czech Republic. And it's a brilliant getaway from Tuomela, who's used that less pass to go all the way around the outside of Hackett. And now just tuck in right behind Loic Mounier. No reason to ruin Loic Mounier's championship bid here. Where is Louis Hartley? He's not made a great start. Down to 11th behind Hargitay then. Let's look at this side by side. Go Hackett and Tuomela for 2nd position then, as it's all getting 3 wide. A little bit further back then. Hackett now desperately trying to hang it out then. Around the outside through 3 and 4. But the KV86 wall holding him at bay then, as now we look at Nick Homeward and Mark Horvath, the 2 Finavons swapping position. It's Homeward that's gotten ahead here. Raschke has made a bit of a break for it behind Magnussen then, so all these guys fighting each other really plays into Hunter Birch's hands then, with most of their drivers up the field. I think all of their drivers are ahead of 8th or better at the moment, until Thomas Raschke made that mistake there, and now Nick Homeward is right behind him in that battle for 6th. Let's look at this, Szyzielski and Horvath make contact there through the middle sector then. Into turns 7 and 8 we go. Liberal amount of dust being kicked up there, but we've got the... Oh, and that's one of the cars around. It's Matthew Lee that has dropped it from the top 5 there. Big error for Matthew Lee then. Potentially he got spun around as well as he's just avoided there by Turovic. I suspect he might have dropped it on his own there, which is a little bit of an inexperience showing for Matthew Lee. But if he was tagged around, that was definitely unfortunate then. Look at this, Hackett desperately trying to spoil AV86's day. He's got 1 behind and 2 ahead of him. And he's maybe got a little bit of help from Thomas Raschke behind, who's now moved up to 5th with that spin for Lee. As we see Hargitay now fighting away with Szylski as well. He fancies a go at Nick Homewood. So only 3 Hunter Birches with Luca Gray absent for this round. But all 3 of them well in the mix here. But it's KV86 very much in control at the present moment. As look at this, 2 wide as they go through 8 and 9. And that's Louis Hartley then, desperately trying to make up ground. Oh, big spin in the background. That's Pajot, I think, in trouble. And Haskell too, right in the wall then. So for the 2 reserve drivers in the spare cars, this has not gone well whatsoever then, as Hackett continues to pressure Tuomela, because I think Hackett knows if he can pass Tuomela, he's got a good chance of winning this race with much less ballast on board. But Nick Homewood now, we've heard him in the commentary box so much this season. Now he wants to get into the top 5 here, but Thomas Raschke holding him at bay then. So it's the battle of our 2 spare commentators then. I say spare, I'm not really the main commentator anywhere. Oh, let's look at that. Homewood drifting his way as he tries to look up the inside, and Homewood now knows if he can't clear Raschke quickly, then Oliver Hargitay is going to be giving him some trouble in the Gold-tacular. Hunter Birch looking to help the sister team here as... Oh, that's he's going to give himself a track limits warning there, is Nick Homewood, or he'll have to. Let's look at this. Tuomela getting defensive here, trying to back Hackett into Patrick Magnussen, but he's gone wide. He's gone wide in the middle sector here as they go through 6, 7, and 8. And it's Hackett that's got the inside then as they go into turn 9. And Tuomela wisely just keeps his nose out. So Tom Hackett recovers back up to 2nd, which is where he started then, as the battle heating up behind. Homewood has overcome Thomas Raschke. And is Raschke going to work together here with Hargitay? Or, yeah, he's flashing his lights there. He's not happy with Nick Homewood for whatever reason there. While we were watching the podium battle, who knows, there could be a podium in it. Any of these 3 drivers, if they can get to the front of this train. But it's Homewood now that is sprinting away, making hay while the sun shines. And who knows, Nick Homewood might fancy a go at Patrick Magnussen. What a story that would be. And a lovely way for Nick Homewood to end the season. But he dips a wheel on the grass there, just about collects himself up without hitting any dramas. But that's going to hurt his momentum all the way down the back straight then. So as we're just going into the final chicane now, everyone pushing the absolute limits, and Hackett is right upon Loic Mounier here. As let's not forget, Louis Hartley down in 12th. So Loic Mounier 2nd, I think, would still put him in a championship winning position, and Hackett all over him at the present moment. So 17 points for 2nd, only 4 points for 12th. So that would be well within, yes, another, he would be 8 getting the 8 points gain he needs, plus 5 more. And here comes Tom Hackett then once more challenging with that less ballast into turns 3 and 4. Mounier simply just sweeps in from the outside, says, you're not getting through today. Today is all about me. Tom, you're going to have to wait your turn. And Tom, who's already tasted victory once this season, is desperate for yet another one. We haven't talked about the soft tyre choices. So who's using the soft tyre in race 1? It is Haskell, Joshua Dexter, Krzysztof Szylski, Peter Schoenemann, and of course Tom Hackett. This man here, and using them to good effect up the inside then on Loic Mounier here through turn 7 and now into 8. Oh, round he goes. He got tagged around by Loic Mounier there, and they're both off, and that's exactly what Loic Mounier did not want to happen. And now Noah Tuomela takes the lead as Homewood is up to 3rd. Thomas Raschke is up to 4th, and now Tom Hackett gets going again down in 15th position, but he will be absolutely furious, to use an Anglo-Saxon expression, with Loic Mounier there. And Mounier now potentially is going to give himself a much harder job of sealing this championship now, because he's gone from looking at 20 or 17 points to just 11 now. And that is putting him in very dangerous territory. He might only just be gaining 7 points now on Louis Hartley. In fact, less than that, because Hartley has gone up to 11th with Tom Hackett dropping down the order. So big drama now, and Certainly, if you're a Hunter Birch fan, you're not going to be happy. But, or a Loic Mounier fan either, because it's not really worked out for either of them. But this opens it well up for Finn Avon. Remember, they needed 1-2, but currently it's still a KV86 1-2 with the Finn Avons in third. And then we've got Peter Schumann and Mark Horvath in 8th and 9th then, behind Oliver Hargitay. And ahead, as we see Pajoud hitting more trouble, and the McNuggies car loses its rear wing. And that's surely going to necessitate a trip to the pits as he slams right into the wall as he tries to get himself out of trouble. And he's completely knackered the suspension there. As there's only 8 laps in this race. It is a long lap here, so we are halfway through. There's not much time left for anyone to make those moves there. And Thomas Raschke still challenging Nick Homan now for third position then. So this will be a first podium of the season for either of these drivers. And Thomas Raschke would be his best ever result. I believe Nick Homan has got a second place back in the first season of EERC British Touring Cars at Sao Paulo in a very, very wet race where it suddenly downpoured. Won by Liam Rance on that occasion, but Nick Homer tried to stay out on the dries and was able somehow to hold on for a very, very long time to the lead, despite it being monsoon rain conditions. Now we cut back to Tom Hackett, trying to fight back on the soft tyres. Looks like they haven't been completely worn out in the gravel here. Andy Horton, will he leave enough space on the inside? Plenty of room there left by the Celtic Racing driver, and Tom Hackett back up to 13th then. And it's going to be fascinating to see if Hackett can catch up to Louis Hartley and hurt Hartley in the Drivers' Championship here. But yeah, Serema himself has got Joshua Dexter to worry about, and Josh Dexter yesterday in Formula Sprint 2 in a Grand Prix Virtual Championship, he spun around and collected a Hunter Birch driver, unfortunately. It wasn't really anyone's fault. It was just Dexter spun himself around at turn 6 or 7 at Austria, and unfortunately was collected by Demir Karenko, a new Hunter Birch driver. And now he's got Tom Hackett, another new Hunter Birch driver, closing rapidly upon him. So I'm getting slight deja vu flashbacks here, but hopefully in the touring cars, Rubbing is racing, and both can survive any contact. But Josh Dexter surely knows that on the soft tyres, Tom Hackett is probably going to breeze through here, and Hackett gets a beautiful exit there and is surely going to fly up the inside as they go closer and closer towards that final chicane here. There we go, plenty of room very early on the brakes, and lifting off the throttle is Josh Dexter in the Optiminal, and through goes Tom Hackett into 12th place. Next target, Alexander Serema for Crown Dental Group then. As well as Hackett, we've also got Schunemann, Szylski, Dexter himself on the soft tyres, and James Haskell too. So keep your eyes on Schunemann. He's right behind Oliver Hargitay at the present moment, 3 tenths. And here is that battle now as we switch to Thomas Raschke. Looks like Raschke and Homewood are both closing on Magnussen, but now Mounier is all over the back of Thomas Raschke there, and this is crucial for the Drivers' Championship here because Hartley has gotten himself up to 10th, so he's only 5 places behind Loic Mounier on the road then, so that'd be only a 5-point gain. He needs an 8-point gain then, so another 2 precious points for 4th then on the table here for Loic Mounier. If he can just clear Thomas Raschke, who has not been too much of a threat to him all season, leaves plenty of room. And now it's Mounier up the inside of a Hunter Birch car, and somehow they both emerge side by side without either of them spinning each other out. But Homewood is all over the back of Magnussen just ahead of him, and Mounier is through into 4th position. So that's now a 7-point gain instead of a 5-point gain. At 13 precious points, and now Homewood attacks Patrick Magnussen for 2nd position then, with just a few laps remaining, and Hackett has gotten up to 10th because Hargitay has fallen off the road there as Homewood. Is he going to go up to 2nd place? Yes, he is, using that less pass to go up the inside of Magnussen, and Magnussen now is surely going to lift off and allow Loic Mounier through, because Mounier needs these extra points to get into a championship winning position right now. It's getting very, very tense here on lap 5 of 8 here at Brno as Homewood absolutely pushes the limits, and here we go, great run from Mounier. Surely Magnussen is going to have to concede, the Icelandic driver, as we see more dust being kicked up in the background. Mounier back onto the podium now and back into potentially a championship winning position then. So it's 3rd versus 9th then, 15 points for 3rd, 7 points for 9th then. So that is going to be exactly 8 points that Loic Mounier is going to gain then. That is exactly what he needs, but he fancies 2nd as well. So Nick Homewood needs to hold Loic Mounier up if Louis Hartley is to have any chance of keeping the points battle going for another round. Right in front of Louis Hartley is Mark Horvath, who is in the same team, might not fight him too hard then for that 8th position. Then it's Peter Schumann, who has lost ground against Szylski then, but has moved up to 7th place. Let's look at Lloyd Moynier up the inside. Wide goes Nick Homewood into turn 3, and Moynier into 2nd position then, so he's cementing that title winning position that he needs to be in. But look behind, Raschke is now starting to fight with Magnussen as well, so the ballast is really hurting people down the straights here, as we see Tom Hackett now all over the back of Louis Hartley. Louis Hartley senses his title hopes fading away. It was already going to be a bit of a long shot, and now here comes Tom Hackett up the inside into 9th position then. So Hackett is not giving up on getting good points out of this one as he gets tagged around again by another title contender. Louis Hartley, what are you doing there? Somehow Hackett sees it coming and just about collects it in time there. But that was that's not been the cleanest, most fun time for Tom Hackett out there, because everyone seems to be playing dirty with him, especially Hartley and Moynier, it must be said, were neither willing to give more room than absolutely necessary. But admittedly, that ended slightly better than the Moynier contact then, as Hargitay seems to have rejoined the field and is now fighting away with Alexander Serema in the background for 12th place. Let's look at this. Hackett and Horvath, the two H's. Finavon versus Hunter Birch Gold, Tacular. And look at this, Moynier and Homewood are fighting each other. So it looks like Moynier was not as secure as he thought, but he has just broken away once more. So it must have been a little wide from Moynier, a little minor mistake that is bringing the pack of 3 cars behind him back into play then, as Hackett continues to chase Mark Horvath and is only a 10th behind and closing in that battle for 8th position then. And look at Szylski on his soft tyres. He is now caught up to the back of Thomas Raschke then, as the penultimate lap has begun. Tuomela has built up a 4.2 second gap to Moynier then, and Moynier with all that ballast, he's had his hands full here. But at the moment he is in a title winning position. 2nd versus 10th. 17 points versus 7 points, so be getting the 8 points he needs plus 2 more, and that would be championship winning position. As Horvath and Hackett squabble over 8th position. They're going side by side as they go through the little turn 2 kink, and I think it's Hackett that's got the run here as they go on the long run into turn 3, and Horvath leaves just enough room there as Hackett switches across. Horvath trying to brake late, but he's a little bit too far back to make any use of that one there. And 6th position, the number 6 car having to hold on to 9th there, as Hargitay Serema continues to squabble over 12th then. So Louis Hartley stays 10th. He's got Joshua Dexter now on his soft tyres all over the back of him. So Louis Hartley, it's really not gone to plan as Raschke goes wide. And just about collects it in time before Szylski can catch him. And Magnussen looking very, very vulnerable now that Homewood has cleared him. So Nick Homewood is still on for a podium here, but 4th position could well be really decided right on the final lap coming up here, as Moynier has started to close on Tuomela, interestingly enough. But he knows, Tuomela will know he doesn't have to give up position here for Lloyd Moynier to win the championship, or indeed for KV86 to win the team's championship. They could well seal this with a 1-2 and a 4th place as well, which would be very, very good news. They've had podium lockouts before this season, KV86, most notably at Rockingham, as round goes the Terevic, so it's not been an auspicious debut for him, as Joshua Dexter finds a way through on Louis Hartley. So the misery for the Scotsman is compounded, and the Season 2 champion looks like he is going to lose the Drivers' Championship here in the first of our 3 encounters here in the Czech Republic, as the drivers are just coming through the final chicane right now. As they're about to start the final lap of the race, has Thomas Raschke kept his tyres alive for a final assault here? Szylski is trying to cut underneath him at the final corner here. Raschke will have to get defensive. Top 5, that would be his best result this season and in his career here in British touring cars here at EERC. He's just got to hold on now for another lap. It's about 3 kilometers, I think, if my maths remembers correctly. And Nick Homewood then also on for his, I believe, his 2nd ever podium in EERC British touring cars, but he's just going to miss out on matching his best finish by 2 seconds, unless of course Lloyd Moynier gets a post-race penalty for hitting around Tom Hackett, which is entirely possible, as Hackett now just 1 second behind Schumann, but his charge has halted somewhat. It's all about this battle for 3rd place right behind Nick Homewood, who has probably done enough to hold on to 3rd position, but it's here 4th place that could be contested. Raschke with no ballast Patrick Magnussen, with all that ballast he's lugging around, then that's 33 kilograms more than Thomas Raschke, and Ciesielski behind him as well on the softs has got an advantage too. So it's just going to come down to the final sector here as they're about to go through the final chicane coming up in not too long a time as they go through 8 and 9. And look up the inside, there's Ciesielski, so Raschke making a mistake right at the end. And 5th place is going to slip away unless he can use his straight line speed to slingshot his way back past the Optiminal, and that's exactly what he's going to try and attempt to do. Who is going to be last on the brakes here? Into turn 10, and Raschke just avoids hitting the back of Magnussen, who is handling like a shopping trolley with a full basket at the moment there. It is just looking absolutely horrible to drive as Nick Homewood goes further and further away as Lee has had yet another spin. Ciesielski is throwing the kitchen sink to try and snatch 5th away from Thomas Raschke, but it's just the final chicane to go. Ciesielski gets the better run, but he's not got the lower ballast here. It is going to be Thomas Raschke that holds on to 5th here as Tuomela has only got one corner to go. It's coming towards the line now, and it's no Tuomela who wins, not for the first time this season, but it's Loic Moynier who crosses the line to be crowned our Season 4 EERC British Touring Car Champion. And don't forget Nick Homewood there, what a great drive he's had to his first podium of the season. He's had to wait a long time for that second podium as the KV86s celebrate the team's championship with a bit of a game of Frogger there that turned supernova there for Patrick Magnussen as his engine let go, and Loic Moynier, the new champion, reversing down the escape road. Don't know how he's managed to get in there. I guess he got a bit of a push from Magnussen and Tuomela as Hartley has decided to destroy the engine too. But what a fantastic season it's been for Loic Moynier and for Louis Hartley. Well, he's done well to keep the points battle going to the final event, but in the end, 11th place was nowhere near good enough. It's KV86 that will hold their heads high as the new champions in Season 4. So confirmation of our race results then, provided, of course, Loic Moynier doesn't get any post-race penalties, but I'm sure he is going to officially see to put the rubber stamp on it in the next 2 races. Of course, we had to have any protests, so we can officially crown Loic Moynier champion, but it's no Tuomela who comes away with the victory after a very, very tidy drive. With his 3rd for Finnevond White, his best result of the season, and Nick Homewood will be absolutely delighted with that one, and deservedly so. Patrick Magnussen holds on to 4th, a good defensive drive despite the ballast on that car. Thomas Raschke holds on to his first result for Hunter Birch in 5th, ahead of Krzysztof Ciesielski, who nonetheless had a good drive, gained a lot of places. Tom Hackett, he'll be disappointed about being spun around, but a good recovery to beat Peter Schumann right at the end, which we didn't quite, we just missed that. I think we saw Hackett lining up the move, but he did complete it into the final chicane. Schumann just pipped in the end in the number 69. Mark Horvath is 9th, and Joshua Dexter on the soft tyres rounds out the top 10. So clean run for Josh Dexter. And Louis Hartley, well, it's a season of what could have been, and I think Hartley himself will admit that he made mistakes at crucial points this season, and that's why the championship slipped away from him. Matthew Lee, after several spins, finishes in 12th ahead of Alexander Serema. Oliver Hargitay, we didn't expect too much of him, and considering his health issues, just to finish 14th, or just to finish it all, really, that's a big achievement in of itself, given that he's nowhere near 100%. Andy Horton places 15th. Then it's James Haskell, Lorenzo Aterovic, and I think Pajald did finish and get still on the lead lap because it's such a long lap here. But of course, replacing that rear wing did take a long time in the pits. So Pajald will be having to do a lot better come race 2. See if there's anything interesting. So Thomas Rash says, yeah, 24 liters of fuel. That's too much or too little. So yes, and Oliver Argidai saying, if I have enough, if this continues, I will go back to hospital with brain damage as well. Oh dear. So I'm not sure if he's joking about contact with the other drivers causing him a headache there, or if that's genuine brain damage. But either so. Yeah, so just letting Oliver Hargitay know it's an absolutely heroic effort for him to even be here in the first place. And let's not forget, was Rashke with that P5 and Nick Homer with that P3, both the underdogs with the lower ballast. But of course, that will change around for race 2, where it'll be the same grid positions as the finishing order for race 1. So then we wait for race 2 to begin, and let's remind ourselves who saved the soft tyres till race 2. Of course, a lot of people compromised on strategy for various different reasons, having used softs in different races earlier in the year. So we've got Alexander Serema, Andy Horton, Louis Hartley, interestingly, Matthew Lee, Jurek, and that's the only ones using the soft tyres in race 2. So Louis Hartley should be stronger in race 2, but he just didn't seem to have all that much raw pace, sadly. There could be another difficult one for him, starting down in 11th. Kaikira in the chat says, Edward laughing through the pain watching Hunter Birch cars getting whacked around. Well, to be fair, Thomas Rashke still got his best result, and it could have gone a lot worse for us, let's put it that way. We have had races where none of our cars have finished this season, so quite a few, actually. Not that I'm pointing fingers anyway, but I think I'm sort of more hoping for some relief when this season ends. I think I'm going to take a very, very quick drink of water so that I don't faint in this heat here, because it's been quite a lot of just humidity here in the UK today, where I live. So I'll get a brief drink of water. I'll be gone about 2 minutes or so, and when I get back, race 2 will surely be beginning.
Attention grid, will all non-essential personnel leave the grid now?
Welcome back to EERC British Touring Cars. For those who are hoping for a close championship fight, unfortunately, it's all been decided already. Still plenty of racing action to come. So Luc Moynier officially your new EERC British Touring Cars champion of Season 4. KV86 Powerhouse, your team's champions. But now let's look to the grid because we're going to see Noah Tuomela start on pole position from new champion Loic Mounier, his teammate. And we're going to see a number of drivers on the soft tyres, including, of course, Louis Hartley, but also Andy Horton, Alexander Stromer, and Matthew Lee. Here we go. The lights surely coming on once the grid populates. Still waiting on Lee, Exter, Schoenemann, Ciesielski, and Magnussen. So they're all just filtering in now. Just Peter Schumann to go. Ciesielski in 6th could be a big danger here on those soft tyres. We saw how quick he was in race 1. Schumann really taking an inordinately long time, and Schumann's going to start from the pit lane then as the race begins. It is Tuomela leading away from Loic Mounier, or is he? Because Mounier with a little bit less ballast on this occasion now. Sticking to the outside here. It's Tuomela that defends the inside with Nick Homewood right behind them. Then Patrick Magnussen now trying to defend from Thomas Raschke, Krzysztof Ciesielski on those soft tyres, and Louis Hartley, who's made a lightning getaway. And I think, in the wall is a Terevic. It looks like Peter Schumann did not actually get going from the pits yet, so there's bigger issues there. There's a little drift there for Magnussen. That could allow Thomas Raschke to get involved here. But it is Tuomela that leads Mounier and Homewood. Homewood had a little look at Loic Mounier, remember. So the reverse ballast here for the top 10 could be a big factor in who is quicker down the straights here as we look at Ciesielski and Hartley. I think Ciesielski, showing on the time screen, is on the harder tyres rather than the softs. As look at that. And off track goes Ciesielski. Oh dear. That's him almost in the wall there. So not what Krzysztof Ciesielski and Optiminal would have wanted at all. And now Joshua Dexter and Louis Hartley are the highest of the soft tyre runners in 7th and 8th. Or should that be 6th and 8th? Because Hartley has just passed Patrick Magnussen, who's made a big mistake. Dropped down to 7th position. So the two KV86s at front have got to fend for themselves then. Big gap forming now between Homewood and Raschke. But it's Hackett that's moved his way up to 5th and is now holding on from Louis Hartley then. So Raschke and Hackett, two Hunter Birch entries, will try and keep Louis Hartley at bay here. As looks like Ciesielski and Schoenemann both retired from the race now, as now Magnussen is under attack from Joshua Dexter in the battle for 7th. They are. And look at Oliver Hargitay, who has been very open about not feeling too well at all with a massive head injury, I believe, that he's just recovering from. But nonetheless, giving it his level best here in 10th position. And look at this now. This is Louis Hartley on the soft tyres, challenging Tom Hackett up the inside for 5th position here. So he may have lost the championship, but he still wants to finish on a high. There's still a win up for grabs here for Louis Hartley, and he clears Tom Hackett up the inside with a very, very close and clinical move there on the soft tyres. But look at this. Mounier is right behind Tuomela now. Now it's a level playing field with the ballast. And Loic Mounier was slightly less than Tuomela, trying to go around the outside at turn 4. Tuomela, is he going to extend the corner here? How hard will he fight, knowing that Homewood, Raschke, and Hartley are within touching distance of the duo? Looks like Mounier trying again. He's going to try once more to go around the outside then as they approach turn 5. The long right-hander. There's going to be enough space left for the pair of them. They go side by side. Tuomela very, very nearly pushes Loic Mounier to the edge of the track. They're still side by side as they go downhill into 7, 8. And Mounier barges into the side of Noah Tuomela and forces his way through into the lead, at least temporarily. Is he going to lift off the throttle and let Tuomela back through? No siree. Tuomela will have to be content now with 2nd position. So now Homewood has got the best seat in the house really to watch these two fight, but he wants to get involved too. He's got less ballast than either of them. He could find a way through as Raschke has his mirrors full of Louis Hartley at the present moment. The leading trio together as one then. They go through turn 10 now towards 11 and 12. Look at this mistake then from Tuomela. That leaves him a bit vulnerable to Nick Homewood, and ballast difference is only going to be even more discernible down the straights between Homewood and Tuomela. As look at this, Hartley on those softs is all over the back of Thomas Raschke. And Raschke, remember, finished ahead of Louis Hartley, so he's got more success ballast in this race. the way the Hunter Birch is set up seems to be fairly slippery in a straight line. And look at this. He's holding up Hartley to try and allow Tom Hackett to get involved here. Matthew Lee is right behind them as well. And look at the swerving down the straight from Thomas Raschke as he tries to change his line there. And he's doing it again. You're not strictly allowed to make a double move there. That was a little bit more borderline from Thomas Raschke, or if I do say myself. But now all bunched up together, so we got a battle for fourth and a battle for first, with 3 cars involved in each, possibly 4 if you count Matthew Lee as well. But Hartley now coming through on the outside then as they go into turn 3. He's got to be brave to pull this one out. Contact with Raschke. Raschke not giving an inch there, but unfortunately having to concede very, very reluctantly. He's just not got the softs to fight against. Oh, and now he's really defending against Tom Hackett there, which seems a little bit unnecessary. Hackett's got the inside now into turn 5. And more contact made with Thomas Raschke there as he slots his way through. Raschke also vulnerable to Lee now, so it's all starting to unravel a bit for Raschke in the forward focus. Hunter Birch, he does just able to get back up the inside of Lee as we look at Haskell having to reverse his way out of the wall, so it's all gone pear-shaped for him. Lee continuing to fight less ballast against Thomas Raschke, and Raschke really is just vulnerable at this moment. He's finished well above where he was expected to in the previous race on those. I think he's saving the softs to race 3 actually. So yeah, it was really just the low ballast that was really playing to his advantage as Homer drifts it into turn 10. So we're nearly at half distance now, and Moynier starting to run away with this one unless Louis Hartley can make really short work of Nick Homewood. Could be interesting to see if Homewood in the Finavon white moves aside for Finavon green. I'm not sure if he is strictly allowed to, but yeah, Louis Hartley not strictly a official teammate in the green team. But yeah, and again, oh, and contact there. Is that Magnussen and Hargitay coming together there? And it looked like Patrick Magnussen came off by far the worst. No, actually it was yeah, we see Thomas Raschke falling down the order to 8th position behind Hargitay. Magnussen now in 9th. So yeah, I think it was Raschke and Magnussen that came together there as round in the foreground. Goes Andy Horton for Celtic Racing. Oh, and there's that somebody else spinning as well. It's Mark Horvath. An uncharacteristically messy race actually. Let's look up here. This is Matthew Lee, less ballast, attacking Tom Hackett then for 5th position, with Oliver Hargitay in 7th then. Incredibly well to stay out of trouble despite him being in a very, very bad condition after getting out of hospital last night. This morning, I should say. There we go. Matthew Lee slots up the inside. He's just so much quicker in a straight line than Tom Hackett, so nothing Tom could really do there. And in fact, Hargitay with less ballast might be able to breeze past Tom Hackett here as well. So the Gold Taculars might work together here to try and maximize the result. Realistically, in the team's championship, there's not a whole lot for Hunter Birch to fight for. Being so far down the order, I think we're 5th, which is quite a long way off the front runners. Oh, a little bit of bumping and barging between Dexter, Serema, and Horton. Well, Dexter just hitting the back of, I think that was Serema hitting the back of Magnussen, sorry. Horton is a little bit further down the field. Now Alexander Serema positions himself to the outside for turn 10, but now has got Josh Dexter for company. Remember, Serema, Dexter, Horton have all got the soft tyres at their disposal in this race. They'll be using them as best they can. That's really what Magnussen is having to deal with at the moment. So all 3 Hunter Birches I've just noticed. Hackett, Hargitay, Raschke, 6th, 7th and 8th then. They're all joining together on track. As now we look at the battle between Homewood and Hartley. Hartley always got a great run on the start-finish straight. Sets the fastest lap of the race on those soft tyres. And surely Nick Homewood is going to be better served by following Hartley through to challenge Tuemela rather than fighting a fellow Finavon driver. With Matt Lee not too far behind either. There we go to the outside. Goes Louis Hartley, and surely he's going to have the momentum to pull this one off. Less ballast, soft tyres, And, well, he goes a little wide. He should be able to hold his line through 4. And indeed he does so. So Hartley onto the podium now. The trouble is, Moinier's got quite the lead. It's going to be quite the job to close him down, even if he can clear Tuomela quickly here. And Noah Tuomela will be defending to help his teammate out to secure Loic Moinier another win in this championship before the season's out. This race on 1 more to go. The reverse grid encounter. Reverse grid draw, of course. Look at this. Hartley now drifting around, trying to challenge and force Noah Tuomela into a mistake there, but he seemed to create one of his own, which will certainly be music to the ears of Loic Moinier. And Matthew Lee is closing in upon Nick Homewood. Homewood, who had to wait so long for his first podium, can he maybe sneak his way through, or his 4th the best it's going to get here as a mistake, drifting wide out of turn 10. Goes Noah Tuomela, and now Louis Hartley is going to try and cut around the outside of him. There we go. That becomes the inside for the second part of the chicane then. It's the final chicane to go then before we start lap 6 then. And look, 3-second margin for Loic Moinier in the lead. Tuomela is doing a fantastic defensive job here, forcing Louis Hartley to constantly go the long way around, trying to run him out of road. Here we go. Hartley's got the inside line for the final corner, and Louis Hartley, the Scotsman, is through, and looks like Nick Homewood is going to try and go through. They're going to go 3 wide down the straight. Lee on the outside, Tuomela in the middle, and Nick Homewood. Oh, it's going to be almost 4 wide, because look at this. Lee is getting involved with Hartley too, and then has to back off and let them all back through into turn 1 there. And the 2 Hunter Birches of Hackett and Hargitay fancy getting involved in this scrap as well. What an excellent battle for 2nd position, but I expect Louis Hartley is going to break away now and chase down Loic Moinier, who's now 3.8 seconds up the road. And there we go. Once more, Homewood has to defend from Lee. He's let Noah Tuomela get the drop on him here, and that's allowing him to just back the pack up. He's got the most ballast of all of these cars. Now Homewood in a very, very unenviable position, because he's got to force a move here somehow as they go downhill into turn 5. And wide he goes. Matthew Lee is going to go through into 4th position. Fantastic driving from Matthew Lee here. Oh! And Tuomela lags out, and Matthew Lee collides with him. Tuomela is going to lose 3 positions here. Maybe even Hargitay will fancy going up the inside of him. 2 is mistake from Louis Hartley as he cuts into the grass. As he tries to push that a little bit too hard to chase down Moinier, but the battle's not over yet. Homewood side by side with Tom Hackett, and it's Hackett that has the inside. There's more collision there. It's really going to hurt Tom Hackett there. Drops him back down to 5th then. Allows Tuomela to sneak through as well. Allows Matthew Lee to pull away then as the 2 Hunter Birch Gold-taculars side by side. It's Hargitay up the inside. And now he makes a double move past Homewood and his teammate Tom Hackett then. But Hackett yet to give up then. Still going side by side with the 72 here. The 72, just forced out wide. Hackett holds his line, holds his nerve, and no love lost between the teammates there. So Ty then has been bounced around a lot in real life, and sadly finds similar treatment here in the sim racing world, returning from his injury. But nonetheless, not beaten yet. Hargitay still going in 6th position, which would be fantastic result in the circumstances there to beat Nick Homewood. But Tuomela still the cork in the bottle now as we start lap 7. So this lap and 1 more to go. And the chances are starting to fade for Louis Hartley, as perhaps the soft tyres are not giving the bite that they did earlier in the race into some of these corners, and are perhaps going to start to go away from him, as Loic Moinier can just afford to coast it in the lead now. A little bit wide from Tom Hackett then. But he has got the pace here to snatch 4th away from Noah Tuomela, as Matthew Lee, let's not forget about him, staring down his first podium in only his 2nd event here in EERC British Touring Cars. A much cleaner race than he did in race 1. It appears the soft tyres, probably the harder tyres to for a new driver to keep alive here, as Matthew Lee wouldn't. Although Matthew Lee is supposedly using the soft tier, so that would explain why he's had such an easy, not an easier time of it, but a successful time. So the time screen's probably wrong, unless Matthew Lee is running the harder tyres by mistake, despite committing to run the softs. It could also be that Nick Homewood has updated the chart very late. and put the wrong tyres on, which he has done before, including to one of my drivers. But there we go. Defense from Noah Tuomela keeps Tom Hackett at bay. And Hackett is got one more lap after this one to challenge the KV86. But up front, Moynier is matching the time set by Louis Hartley, a tune of just 2/10 slower. And here we go. Here comes the move then from Hackett. Looks like big defense on from Noah Tuomela, but he's forced himself to lock up the brakes, go a bit wide. Oh, there's door-to-door contact. But looks like Tom Hackett is going to try and brake late round the outside then into the first of our two final chicanes then. Hargitay now positioned himself around the outside. That's brave from Oliver. And surely he's not going to pull that one off. Well, he's going to try to. And he's now also got the run on Tuomela here. It's 2 against 1 and Tuomela being ganged up on here. But he has defended incredibly well despite having more. But oh, and Hargitay just goes right into the side of him there as he desperately looks for a way through. We're going on to the final lap, and it's anyone's guess who's going to finish in 4th position here. It's Tuomela, Hargitay, Hackett, Homewood, and Thomas Raschke only 2 seconds down the road. So Raschke's recovered well to 8th position here. But look at this, up the inside, finally goes Tom Hackett past Noah Tuomela for 5th position. Hargitay, sorry. And that's Hargitay conclusively through. And now Hackett's going to try and follow him. He's got the toe then as they make the long journey up towards turn 4. Hargitay gets defensive, tries to back Noah Tuomela into his teammate Tom Hackett here. And Hargitay to finish top 4 after literally less than 12 hours after leaving hospital. That is an incredible job from the Hungarian here. As Loic Moynier is going to hold off Louis Hartley to win, which feels really like the story of the season in microcosm there. Matthew Lee is going to take a first podium, only 9/10 behind Hartley. Hartley really starting to struggle in 2nd position then, but not quite as much as Noah Tuomela, who's left the door open for Tom Hackett just a little bit here. And now Hackett might have to worry about Homewood right behind him then. So it's the 2 H's, Homewood and Hackett, giving Noah Tuomela a very, very difficult time here. But Tuomela defending tooth and claw to every last shred of that 5th position then. Just like we saw Thomas Raschke do in his defense of 5th in the race before, as Raschke goes very, very wide coming out of turn 9. And here we go. The run, the line is taken by Tom Hackett. He's got the inside, just slides his way through into turn 10 and now closes the door very, very firmly on Noah Tuomela. So Tuomela has been bumped down to 6th, and it looks like that's where he's going to finish. It's going to be a Hunter Birch 4th and 5th place finish for the Goldtacular team, which is certainly a good day's work in race 2. But up front, Loic Moynier, he sealed the championship, and now he's going to do so in style with a victory. Moynier is going to ensure his dominance here in the Drivers' Championship. Even if he gets penalised in race 1, that officially puts him beyond the touching distance of this man, Louis Hartley, who was almost caught by a very impressive Matthew Lee on the soft tyres, as Hartley decides to destroy his engine once more. Hargitay take a bow, despite huge head injuries, has been able to secure that 4th position, and we believe that might be even after some surgery that he's had as well. So you got to take your hat off to Oliver Hargitay, to his commitment. Wasn't even sure if he was going to race, and he comes away with a 4th position, just ahead of his teammate Tom Hackett there. Fabulous job by him, although Tuomela defended for a very long time. Did a pretty solid job himself. So the last few finishes, looks like everyone was a bit marginal on fuel as they crossed the line, but we'll just wait now for Pajoud. Unfortunately, he's going to finish nearly a minute down once again, at least ahead of Aterovic this time. So just half a lap length to go, but the finishing order very much confirmed then. So let's go through it. Loic Moynier wins again for feels, I think it's the 7th or 8th win he's had this season, ahead of Louis Hartley. Matthew Lee takes his first podium in 3rd as a new driver in the sort of independent reserve team there. Oliver Hargitay holds on to 4th from Tom Hackett. Noah Tuomela drops to 6th in the end, but did a great defensive job, which was a key part of Moynier's victory in that 2nd race. Nick Homewood, sadly, he fell to 7th by the end, but did still beat Thomas Raschke for the 2nd race in a row. Alexander Sarema was 9th, and Joshua Dexter for the 2nd race in a row rounds out the top 10. In 11th is Andy Horton. Mark Horvath finishes 12th. James Haskell 13th. Patrick Magnussen 14th. Looks like Stanislas Bajald is just crossing the line now in 15th. And it's Lorenzo Aterovic, who's a lap down. Krzysztof Zielski did not finish, and sadly, neither did Peter Schumann. Both Zielski having a accident on the first lap, and Peter Schumann, unfortunately, not leaving the pit lane. So we still don't know quite what happened to him there. So we now wait for the reverse grid draw, which hopefully Chris Tompkins can do for us now. We don't know if we're going to be able to see the random wheel pop up on stream. Alex Lahoo, who's watching in chat, of course, he raced at Silverstone in this championship earlier this year, says, and Loic Mounier becomes McHamian of the world. He means champion of the world. Congratulations. So, yeah, there we go. You missed him actually becoming champion, most likely, which was in race 1, especially with how terrible, well, not terrible, but how disappointingly that result was for Louis Huntley. We're seeing a message from Chris Tompkins. He says he's having an error establishing a database connection. So looks like I'm going to have to go into random.org and do the reverse grid draw myself then. Right, what drivers do I need to put in? Is it the whole grid reverse, or is it just 14th to 15th or something? Well, no. There we go. Not streaming, so I'm not sure if I can actually do it, but hopefully Chris Tompkins can do it if his internet isn't too bad. So I don't know if Chris is doing the wheel or not. I could do it myself and just see what happens here. But I don't think it should. I think it should be fine for Chris. No, okay. Oh, one moment. Okay, sorry. I didn't realize you were speaking Spanish. That confused me.
Hello.
There we go. Right, it's on stream.
Have we got it now?
On the podium, Nick Homer just joins us in the country box along with Chris Tompkins very briefly there. Well done on the podium, Nick. And looked like race 2 is a little harder out there, but it's your first podium since Brazil 2020 in season 1, yeah.
Yeah, okay, the wheel's working. I'm going to go back. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Brief interview with Nick Code. Hopefully we'll hear more from him after race 3 is concluded. But Chris Tompkins is getting ready in race direction chair to spin the wheel. And let's see where it lands. It's going to be 11th position. There we go. And that was, of course, Andy Horton. So Andy Horton is going to inherit the reverse grid pole then. So that's great news then for the Celtic racing driver who spun on, early in the race, recovered to 11th. And his reward is going to be... It's a shame he used the softs in race 2. In race 3, he's going to have to make do with the hards then. But let's remind ourselves of who has saved those softs for race 3. Jurka Slovenak is not here. Carl Benton is not here. Loic Mounier, who is here. And unfortunately, he's, of course, going to start from 11th due to a reverse grid. Lorenzo Aterovic from near the back of the grid. Mark Horvath also from near the back. Nick Homer from 7th. He's saved the softs for race 3. Noah Tuomela in 6th. He has saved the softs for race 3. Oliver Hargitay in 4th has got the softs for race 3. So could Oliver Hargitay top even his race 2 result there from 4th. Patrick Magnussen, a little bit further down the pack, he saved them for race 3 as well. And then we got Stanislas Bajald, who is, I think, very far down the order as well. And Thomas Raschke has also saved them. So he's going to start from 8th. So quite a number of soft tire runners. We've got Mounier. But I think the main threats are going to be Mounier, Tuomela, Hargitay, maybe Magnussen if he can make up ground, and potentially Raschke if he can get the most out of those soft tyres. So, return to the game then. Louis Hartley says, this is what the championship is all about. Trying to see how far we can go without the engine, suggests Loic Mounier. Please don't tell me Loic Mounier decided to blow the engine as he crossed the line. I'm pretty sure you're not allowed to do that, but anyway, I guess they can't stop him now. But anyway, for Andy Horton to at least get a great result from reverse grid pole, but we are expecting chaos and controversy as we always seem to get in race 3s. Now we wait for the grid to form. So, final race of the season, sadly, of course. So thank you very much for watching it with us, if you have been. And of course, we will be back for a 5th season. We are hoping, by the way, that we can get another season of, because we haven't had one in over 2 years now, of EERC Formula E. So hopefully that can happen on R Factor 2 if there's the demand for it. Certainly compete. Well, my team certainly would, because I don't really have anything that can run R Factor 2 at the moment. Oliver Argatai says to Tom Hackett in the Hunter Birch chat, "Good fight, Tom. Sorry if I was being a bit much. I was trying to help you, but you were fighting." Yeah, and like I said, a heroic performance really from Argatai. But yeah, Noah Tuamela did not make it easy for either of them. Oh, shitty, to be fair. So, we wait for this warm-up session to finish. And once it does, we're going to see an exciting, action-packed finale to our championship, albeit not one for the major placings, but still an opportunity for the likes of, it was a bit lower in the championship, so the likes of Nick Homewood, Noah Tuamela, Patrick O'Magnuson, Tom Hackett, Oliver Hargitay as well. Because there was a big fight, wasn't there, for 4th or 3rd in the championship between, I think, Hargitay, Schooneman, and a couple of others. But to be honest, with the championship, the lead really being what our main focus was on, I haven't really got time to post-mortem and figure out who is where. Although this warm-up is dragging on a bit, so maybe I'll find something to do. Oliver Hogso says, "Don't worry, Ed. I haven't had any surgery. Just kept in until my vomiting went away." Oh, dear. Well, I mean, that's even more commendable to stick with it, because it doesn't sound like Oliver is anywhere near 100%. But anyway, thank you for giving it your level best, Oliver, because that's exactly the kind of commitment that we love to see. And I only wish I'd seen a little bit more of that for some of my drivers this season, but I'm not going to point the finger. Certainly not Oliver, who's driven with us for 3 seasons, or 2 and a bit seasons now, I think. And Lloyd Moynier, of course, former Hunter Birch driver, of course, back in Season 2. Where he was, I believe, top 3 in the drivers, or top 3 or 4 in the drivers' championship, despite joining us only mid-season. So great to see Lloyd Moynier finally get a championship, because he very much deserved it. And yeah, he's had a difficult year in other championships. Of course, he's had his one-off showings in GPV, where he's performed very, very well, especially FS2 in Montreal, where he dominated both races, despite being probably a little bit overqualified. A lot of bad luck in driving for Team Iris in FSR Pro, so we probably won't mention too much of that. But of course, his teammate Arda Erchan did take victory for the team in the Belgian Grand Prix a couple of weeks ago, which of course was a huge achievement for that squad. Their first win since Moynier in the Canadian Grand Prix in Pro the season before. Moynier, their endurance racing team, suffered a heavy defeat, sadly, despite getting a GT3 class podium at Team Iris at the EES 24 Hours of Le Mans, the final race of that season, where they were in the title hunt, running out of fuel, unfortunately, as the rain has started to fall. So, soft tyres out the window, and we are in for a wet race. So those still in the pits are going to try and plonk on the wet tyres now, surely. Here we go. Soft tyres, hard tyres, never mind. Andy Horton won the first to the grid, but it's Peter Schumann making a gamble on the wet tyres, starting from the back of the grid then. So Peter Schumann could have pulled a blinder here. But anyway, the race about to start with Matthew Lee and James Haskell just getting to the grid. Oh, it looks like Haskell might have gambled on the wets as well. Has it stopped raining? Off we go. Andy Horton leads Joshua Dexter and Alexander Serema, but Serema does not get a great start. Thomas Raschke powers his way through into 3rd position, but it's almost 4 wide, and into the wall goes Krzysztof Zazielski. So a horrible start for him, as it's very low grip, and all the way off track Goes one of the Finavons and into the wall. That's not Peter Schumann, is it? Oh dear, I think it might have been Leterovic. It's out of the race. No, it was Louis Hartley that went full speed into the wall. There is Schumann, who's not made a great start himself. But let's have a look at the timing screen. Looks like nobody went for the wets in the end. Everyone changed their mind and stuck to the dries. So look at the carnage. Look at the chaos unfolding in front of us. Joshua Dexter has snatched the lead away from Andy Horton. So Optiminal lead. And now Andy Horton is under attack from Noah Tuomela, who's already up to third and challenging for second. Nick Homewood is fourth ahead of Thomas Rashke. And then it's Hargitay on the soft tyres, battling away with Thomas Rashke himself. Is all off track almost. Goes Rashke. Szylski is round again. No, it's Dexter round. Dexter round from the lead. Oh, there. So Tuomela takes the lead on his soft tyres. I think Joshua Dexter might have been punted round. Dexter is out of the race, sadly. So that's 3 retirements before we're even halfway around the first lap. Up the inside of Andy Horton goes Nick Homewood. So the Welshman is under attack and just locks up. That will allow Oliver Hargitay to challenge now on his set of softs. So it's Tuomela. And into the wall goes Tom Hackett, facing the wrong way. So he has come to grief somewhere on track. Hackett is out of the race too. 4 retirements then in quick succession. Hackett, Dexter, Szylski, and Aterovic. But it is Tuomela leading a Homewood, Horton, Hargitay, Sarema, Moynier, Magnussen, Lee, Rashke, and Horvath. And everyone apart from Sarema and Horton is on the soft tyres, by the way, because they've all left it until the end to get their final soft allocation out of the way. And Horton is starting to hold up Oliver Hargitay. Despite that lockup, Hargitay was being careful, couldn't quite find his way through. So he's not being sick in the car, I hope. But Hargitay, who of course is going to be a little bit fatigued, I think. But he's not showing any signs of it so far. Absolutely relentless at the wheel of that Hunter Birch Gold Tacular. The sole remaining Gold Tacular, of course, needs to bring home the bacon. Get through onto the podium if he can. Past Andy Horton, of course. And look at that. Sarema is overtaken by Loic Moynier, but Moynier goes very, very wide through turn 1. Is just able to hang it on the outside there. That was a bold move from our new champion. As Hargitay now sizes up, Andy Horton stays in the slipstream. Sarema is fighting back here in the background, being sandwiched between the 2 KV86s, and it looks like Magnussen has made it through as well. But up the inside goes Hargitay. That becomes the outside for turn 4. Needs to pull this move off. A little bit of contact. Homewood does some lawn mowing there, and Hargitay pulls across, but he's followed through immediately by Loic Moynier. Of course, less ballast on Moynier's car. Well, he still have a lot of ballast maybe from race 2 potentially, but look at this around the outside. So much confidence from Loic Moynier, former teammates with Oliver Hargitay at Hunter Birch, and Hargitay now struggling to hold on to that podium. Moynier's got the inside. Hargitay drifts wide. It's tapped around by Patrick Magnussen, and he just about saves it there. That didn't look intentional from Patrick. He just went a little bit too deep, and now it's 3 wide into turn 7. Surely that's not going to end well with Sarema on the inside, Magnussen in the middle, and then Horton on the inside, and Horton just about backs out and survives that one, but he's down to 8th now. He's been absolutely mobbed as Sarema bangs 3 times into Magnussen and spins Patrick Magnussen out as they approach turn 10. That was naughty from Alexander Sarema. And look up the inside, it's Matthew Lee looking to punish him. So Matt Lee gets up to 5th now as Rashke now is fighting with Horton once again. But up front, the order is Tuomela, Homewood, 1.3 seconds behind. Then it's Moynier, then it's Hargitay, and then a 1.7 gap to Matthew Lee in 5th. Of Sarema, Horvath, Rashke, Horton, Pajoud, and Schoenman right behind them. So Louis Hartley, I think, decided to start on the wet tyres, and that's why he has just been coasting around. His last lap, 2 minutes 31. Everyone else in the 2:19s. It's very slow, and I think Louis Hartley might have come into the pits to try and change off of those wet tyres potentially, or he's going to stick with the wets and hope it starts raining again, because ever since there we go, Rashke up the inside of Sarema into turn 1, and Horvath is held at bay there. Sorry, I keep my head in the timing screens, so I can't really see all the chaos happening in front of us, as Rashke now really trying to defend that 6th place, but Sarema as Schoenemann being leaned on there by Andy Horton, the former pole sitter. Horvath and Sarema swap positions then into turn 3 as Rashke desperately trying to hold on. And is that a few drops of rain there? No, that's my eyes playing tricks on me. And we see Hargitay is right behind Loic Moynier in the battle for 3rd still, so keeping him very, very honest. But Matt Lee now pulling away from Rashke, and Sarema and Horvath continue to swap positions with Stanislas Bajal right behind them. Up the inside once more goes Mark Horvath. Much better showing in race 3, of course, and that's probably due to those soft tyres. All of the top 7 now on soft tyres, with Sarema once again being shuffled down to 8th position. Pajal will now fancy a run at him in the McNuggies car. Don't forget James Haskell on the soft down in 12th. He could be catching up to Andy Horton before too long if he is able to stay out of trouble. But now things have calmed down a little bit. Closest battle on track is Horvath and Rashke makes a little mistake coming out of turn 9 as they're almost about to go too wide. Once more, Horvath and Sarema side by side then, and it's Sarema that's got the inside into turn 10, but Pajad trying to do a wall of death around the outside on those soft tyres. He's got the pace to try this one. This is going to become the inside then for the next corner. I think that rain that we keep seeing might actually be a glitch, or it might just be the grass that I'm seeing. Is up the inside goes Schunemann, and he nearly spins Alexander Sarema around. And these two just absolutely cannot, they're just magnetized to one another. And Horton is going to slip through as a result of those two, but it's going to get very messy here. Sarema then just tags another car around from the rear and spins Andy Horton around there. That was, again, very, very dirty driving, it must be said, from Alexander Sarema, and Haskell has been able to sneak through as a result. But poor Andy Horton, from pole, through no fault of his own, is slipping down the order. We are seeing windscreen wipers being used on some of these cars, but we're seeing sunshine in terms of the weather conditions. It is only cosmetic rain, not actual rain, you're seeing on screen at the moment. And Sarema has decided to retire the car there rather than be penalized in the final race of the season. So make of that what you will, I guess. Matthew Lee is the fastest man on track at the moment, 207.7, and he's 9/10 then behind Oliver Hargitay. As we look at Horvath closing down on Thomas Rashke. Was actually slightly slower the previous lap, but he's gained a bit on this sector by 2/10 in the first sector. So Thomas Rashke once more has got his work cut out for him if he wants to finish in the top 6, but it's been a very, very good final meeting of the season. Rashke just seems to have clicked with this track in a way he's not really done with the others so far this season. Silverstone, he did okay, I guess, with the strategy in the first race, finishing in the top 9, but elsewhere it's been a real battle of attrition really for him. Toyo Mella, meanwhile, continues to pull away from Nick Homewood. 1.5 seconds, is the gap at the moment, with Moynier closing on Homewood as well. So Nick Homewood wants to match his best ever finish with second place, but Loic Moynier just absolutely relentless today. He's got second, he's got a win. Both are good enough, or either on its own would probably have been good enough to win him the championship, but he wants to complete it with another top 2 finish here as well, and perhaps even beating Noah Tomello. And Tomello would be very, very pleased, I think, with 2 wins out of this one if he can pull that one off. As Hargitay, he's got Matthew Lee to worry about if he wants to get a second, 4th position in a row here, and it's one that could really help Hargitay in the Drivers' Championship if he can hold Matthew Lee at bay. But anyway, I'll keep an eye on whether the rain is real or not. So far, what I'm seeing is it's not real rain, which is much of the disappointment of Louis Hartley, who's still lapping about 10 seconds off the pace of those of the leaders, and stubbornly refuses to get off the wet tyres. So I guess Hartley is going to be lapped before too long at this pace. He's 93 seconds down on the lead. But luckily, it's only an 8-lap race. I guess once Hartley committed to the wets, he's sort of, given the short length of the race, despite the long length of the laps here, he sort of had to stick with it. And he's sort of up a creek without a paddle, or indeed in a dry creek with a canoe that's not going anywhere. But to use a very laboured analogy, but Loic Moynier here is shadowing Nick Homewood, and Homewood, with it being the last race of the season, he is going to defend as hard as he can. But Loic Moynier, with so much pace and experience, is probably going to try and force Homewood into a mistake here if he can. And all of this really plays into the hands of Toemela, who's pulled another few tenths ahead as Hargitay is defending from Lee here. So 2 very, very good battles for 3rd and 4th, 2nd and 4th, I should say. Yeah. It seems it's rain every time, like a few brief milliseconds as the camera is changing, and then it clears away. So I think it's just a glitch with R factor 2 on Chris Tompkins' end. Look at this, Homeward now as they come out into the 11-12 chicane. Now into the final chicane they come as well. And Moynier gets a better exit here as we also see Lee tucking right in the back of Oliver Hargitay. But now up the inside comes Luke Moynier into the final chicane there. And despite his best efforts, nothing Homeward could do. But Hargitay just able to fend off Lee. And he's really hoping that Thomas Raschke can get involved in this battle as well. But that looks like Nick Homeward might have to settle for third place here, unless Oliver Hargitay, of course, can catch him. But a reminder, all of the top 8 on soft tyres. Schoenman, the only driver starting on the hards in the top 10. Or running on the top 10 at the moment on hards, I should say. Fastest man on track. Unsurprisingly, Noah Tuomela gets the gap up to 2.1 seconds with 3 laps to go. And Hargitay is catching Homeward to the tune of 7/10 this lap. So if Moyni's not able to make much ground here, he could be backing Homeward into the Raschke Lee battle, the Hargitay Lee battle, I should say. And Lee still all over the back of Oliver Hargitay like a cheap suit. So Hargitay to just keep his focus and not make any mistakes. That's very, very impressive given his condition. Although I suppose he has had a couple of races now to get into the swing of things. But still, that his injury will be affecting him. So it's on autopilot now. Chris Tompkins has left the broadcast booth. So if there's any big moves that we miss, I do have to apologize. But luckily, we are seeing where the action is at the moment. There's a yellow in sector 2, as that looks like a little mistake from Moynier, as Hargitay goes a little wide. Opens the door for Matthew Lee. Matthew Lee gets up to 4th position. What an excellent drive it's been from Matthew Lee. Pretty much in all 3 races. But again, a little bit of struggling for traction. Hargitay might come back at him as Homeward pushes the track limits just a little bit far to try and get back alongside. And Hargitay now is still side by side with Lee as they go uphill. He's going to just push his way ahead, but it's Lee that will have the inside line into the first part of the final chicane there. And oh, very, very close, but just enough space left. Oliver Hargitay to move back into 4th position. Great fight between these two. Fortunately, Auto Director seems to only have eyes for Nick Homeward. So it's most likely that we're probably going to miss the... oh, no, Auto Director now seems to focus on Andy Horton. As Lee gets back past Hargitay up the inside into turn 1. But for now, we're probably going to be relying more on the timing screens than the broadcast itself. As we cut to Louis Hartley, still struggling on those wet tyres. And you can just see this is a man praying for rain. But it's illusory rain, sadly. And now we see, if anything, the third place battle starting to converge a bit. So Matthew Lee is 2.3 seconds behind Homeward. So now he's gotten through. Hargitay is 4/10 behind. Then we've got Raschke 1.3 behind. So this is all going to come down to who's feeding the bravest and who's got the tyres in best condition as they approach the final lap of the race. Ballast is also going to be a big factor here too. In race 3, it's so mixed up really that as long as you've got a big enough gap, you should be able to hold on. Moynier's within 0.8 of Tuomela. Tuomela's not had a good previous lap actually. He was nearly a second slower than Loic Moynier. But has he got enough time to really catch as Moynier? And Noah Tuomela surely not going to give up what would be a fantastic victory that would do him a lot of good in the Drivers' Championship, despite having already sealed the Teams' Championship. It would be another 1-2 for KB86 Powerhouse. And it would be a lockout of all 3 races, of course, with one of their drivers winning in each. See Hargitay really struggling to keep Matthew Lee in sight. And Nick Homeward starting to fight back, actually, against Matthew Lee. 209.5, so he's actually the fastest of those in the top 5, although Raschke matched his lap last time around. Across the line they go. Matthew Lee coughs up a little bit of dust to try and hold up Hargitay. as they start the final lap of the race. There's a yellow in sector 1. Who's that for? As we see Moynier get within half a second then of Tuomela. I think it was Andy Horton hitting trouble. There's a Finnevon that spun around. Andy Horton coming out the pits. But I think that might have been Hartley going a lap down just ahead of him. And it looks like Andy Horton's going to retake. So Hartley's gone off at turn 1 and spun off into the wall. So that is a miserable way for the Season 2 champion to have his day end. And I was about to say, just to add insult to injury, right after he crashes out, it starts raining. And those wet tyres might have come in handy, but it's not raining, so we can't use that one. But it looks like the KV86s, after a dominant season, they're going to cross the line in formation then, just ahead of Nick Homewood. As Lee is just going to fall short, I think, of that third place here, despite taking a podium last time out in race 2. For KV86, Christian Vazdar's team, of course, from Croatia, not the Czech Republic, but they are definitely going to party after this one because they are leading in FS2 at the Teams Championship there. And it looks like they're going to replicate that success here in ERC British Touring Cars. They're already Teams Champions, but they're going to seal it with yet another 1-2. At least their 4th or 5th of the season by my recollection. Now just another 2 chicanes to go. Loic Moynier closes inexorably on the back of Noah Tuomela. Are they going to do a formation finish at the end as Lee is harassing the back of Homewood, trying to steal Homewood's only his 3rd career podium in EERC British Touring Cars. The 2 Hunter Birches are going to be very close together as well. Through the final chicane we come. And Noah Tuomela, it's going to be another victory for him. He's going to finish in the top 5 in the championship. Oh, as they're going very wide, as we're seeing suddenly a whole downpour. The heavens open, but it's all over. Noah Tuomela wins by 1/10 ahead of Loic Moynier. It's a domination for KV86 Powerhouse as they bump over the line. Nick Homewood holds on to his 3rd podium. He had to wait ages for a second. His 3rd came almost immediately, but Matthew Lee really pushed him all the way near the end there. Oliver Hargitay takes another top 5 position, despite being really under the weather. Thomas Raschke holds on to another top 6 position to really end the season on a high. Mark Horvath is 7th. Stanislas Bajad is 8th. Peter Schumann 9th. James Haskell rounds out the top 10. And it is Andy Horton, Louis Hutley, Alexander Surema, Patrick Magnussen is going to be him and Surema your first retirements. Hartley, I think he's still classified, so he must have gotten out of the gravel and crossed the finish line, or he's just about to, either way. Then you've got Tom Hackett, Joshua Dexter, Krzysztof Szylski, and Lorenzo Oterovic, all of whom retired early on. Argato says, I'm coughing like someone who was smoking cigarettes for 20 years. Even though I'm not even that old. So there we go. But
Hello.
that is your season over then. So unfortunately, because no one's in charge of the broadcast, I've already gone through the results. So we're going to get our first interview. Hopefully we'll hear from our champions in a minute. But in the meantime, let's hear from someone else who did very, very well. We heard from him very, very briefly at the end of race 2. But he's just secured another podium after a very, very tight battle with Matthew Lee. So race 1, a little bit tough, but races 2 and 3, could I say, not much to complain about, Nick?
Yeah, I don't know. Do you know when everything just kind of clicks? I've never driven this track before yesterday.
I think it's a similar story for Raschke, Thomas Raschke, my driver, because he seemed to be the battle of the commentators between you two at one point as well.
We had we were both 1 point apart from each other in the standings coming into this, and we were like, "Oh,
I guess you win then.
P20," and it all came down to the last race. First time.
I mean, if you both do about no, to be fair, Thomas has done most all the season, I think, and you've done about half the season. So
yeah, I missed a couple, but hey, it was a lot of fun. Hopefully, Loic.
He kept it interesting.
Thingy come into the waiting room.
You know what the deal was with all that rain at the end, Nick? Because it seemed to be on Chris's screen. Louis Hartley was the only one who seemed to fall for it and go for wet tyres. Everyone else went for the dries.
We got the randomized weather plugin on the server, and it just freaked out the entire race. So before the lights went out, there was about 10 seconds of rain, and I think that caused a few people to think, "Oh, I'll go on the wets," and as a gamble.
And Louis the only one who didn't switch back in time.
Yeah, and then throughout the race, it was just flicking between 5%, 0%, 5%, 0%. The track wasn't getting wet. And then in the last corner, it just went 100% for about 5 seconds.
Yeah, right as Tuamela and Moni across the line almost together, it did just absolutely tip it down as well on the screen, which is almost like ending with a thunderstorm, which is appropriate in a way.
Yep.
But,
Right, let's see if
yeah.
any of them want to come in for an interview.
I think if they would, they'd have shown up by now. I don't know. It's very hot here, so I'm not going to wait too long if that's okay.
Yeah, no, I'm knackered.
Yeah, I'm very hot and I've only been talking, not driving, like these guys have. But yeah, Oliver Hargitay, who's been like, try not to throw up. He's been coughing like he says, like someone who's been smoking for 20 years, even though he's less than 20.
Here they are. Christian, Loic, and Noah.
So we're going to hear from the KV86 Powerhouse team that joins us now. So our new drivers champion, Loic Mounier, our double race winner today, Noah Tuamela, and our victorious constructors champion team principal, Christine Vasda. All three join us now. So I think Magnussen was unavailable, but we got the whole KV86 Powerhouse team nonetheless. A fantastic day for all of you. Shall we start with the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend, Loic Mounier, of course, former Hunter Birch Simulation royalty. It's so from a personal point of view, Loic, great to see you finally seal that title that you had to wait a few seasons to secure, but you did it in some spectacular fashion. Of course, in the end, Noah didn't have to give up the first place at the end, but it was a bit hairy after the collision with my driver, Tom Hackett, there. So you certainly didn't make it easy for yourself, but to be fair, it was a great recovery. And then in race 2, you absolutely sealed it. So in case there's any penalties, we know for sure that you've got it. And then race 3, you and Noah, just a nice little formation finish at the end, really, while everyone else scored behind. So got to say, perfect day for you.
Was this a question?
Yeah, for Loic.
It's how he starts with questions usually. Thank you. Yeah, it was off to a good start. I think it's Hackett that tried to do some racing. It was very nice racing until he forgot to give room and he threw it himself out of the race. That was unfortunate because it could have been a very nice fight. Otherwise, that led to me having to recover and just missing time to catch Noah, but he did very well for the amount of practice he put in, from what I know. Race 2, nothing really to talk about. Just still my position as I should have. I think I should have. And for
You did a fantastic job there. So, really, talk us through.
Talk you through.
Well, race 2 is the interesting one, but you didn't win essentially.
Well, race 2.
Remember, Noah, no brain rot.
I don't know what to say. I got P6. There was a lot of stuff happening, and that's where I ended up.
Okay,
I don't know how to answer questions.
I got
man.
even
Very
my
impressive.
drivers.
Stop talking too much.
Okay. Well, that's a very tactical answer. Are you delighted to be part of the teams championship ever? Because you, Patrick, will mention a certain Alex Lahou because he'll feel left out if he's not mentioned, and of course, like the drivers champion. All 4 of you put in a lot of effort to win this championship, didn't you?
Loic kind of carried it. I'll be honest.
I'd say Alex. I'd say Alex.
And him.
Well, Alex was the only one who we didn't see it on stream because sadly Pascal's stream crashed at the time, so we saw exactly diddly squat at the finish at Silverstone. And
If Alex hears this, that's his last chance to be interviewed.
My goodness. Well, we have got
he's
people who are actually in the race who want to be interviewed as well. Since you're here, Christian, let's
Hi.
congratulate you. KV86 teams
thank-
champions of season 4 of KV86 Powerhouse, joining the likes of Hunter Birch Simulation, 2-time champions, I should point out, and Gravel Trap Racing. So it's an elite club, and you're
It is
part
an
of
elite
it. How do
club. Oh, well, I'm very happy to be joined by Hunter Birch Simulations and Gravel Trap Racing. Some elite organizations around here, and now we're part of that elite club. It was a great season overall. I'm just disappointed in my drivers with how race 3 went. I think Loic and Noah both should have won that last race. I don't know how.
you wanted them to
I'm disappointed that Loic was unable to get the win. I think Noah did okay, but I'm disappointed in Loic with that finish. Could have won that, and he didn't.
And a word on Patrick, because he'll definitely feel left out if he's not mentioned.
Oh,
Slightly
God.
trickier one for him. You got to.
I'll just tell him Portugal.
Okay. I assume that's code word for a previous event.
He's an idiot, yeah.
I don't think we went to Portugal in EERC British Touring Cars this season, to my recollection, unless my memory has completely gone off. It is about 28 degrees heat, and these houses in the UK are built for winter, not for summer, so they keep in a lot of heat. So I am sweating like a pig right now, even as the sun's gone down. But yeah, we did not visit Portugal this season, so you're definitely referring to something else, a little in-joke that is completely lost on me and the audience. Thanks for that, Christian. So what's next for you guys? Are you going to come back for next season, and or is it just completely focus on FS2? And once that's done, we'll think about coming back once we've crushed debates again in another category.
No concrete plans yet, but we'll probably be back.
Yeah, great to have 2 days in
As
a
a
row
team,
of
at the
HBS
very
versus
least.
KV86 as well. That's fun. Austria and the Czech Republic.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Didn't have to travel too far.
True. So I don't have any more questions unless Nick, I know obviously you're a driver, but you can ask as well because Chris isn't here. If you had anything to add,
I
to
wanted
ask
to
new
say that it
champions.
was fun actually racing with Loic and Noah. It's not often I get to be at that end of the grid, so it was fun racing.
Yeah. It was clear who I was cheering for in the commentary. No surprises. Well,
Well,
actually, no,
really, I didn't
I was sort of
notice.
cheering for Loic to win the championship. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, you sounded awfully calm after one of your drivers was in the gravel trap.
Well, I mean, the season's I was sort of just, if I'm being completely honest, relieved when the season ended because it's been a nightmare. I just wanted it to end, and now I don't have to suffer anymore. I can focus on FS2. But anyway, thank you very much to Christine Vazdar, Loic Monia, our 2 new champions, and Noah Tomella, part of the winning KV86 Powerhouse Teams Championship lineup. All worked extremely hard. It's been fun to watch. Manage your team well.
Sorry for cutting you off like 3 times. I just wanted to say it was nice having you as well. So thank you for being the commentary man around here. You did a great job this year as well.
Commentary man.
year,
That's right.
season,
I'm going to
season.
do real life karting. I'm going to introduce myself as that when I go to Paul Fletcher International on Sunday. For
It's a
the
pretty good
Elite
title
Karting
to have,
Series.
isn't it?
I'm Edward Hunter, commentator man. You can just call me commentator man.
I'm
Not
giving
commentator,
myself
man,
a role-
commentary,
giving myself a
man.
role in the server called that now.
Right. I'm also doing the interviews there, by the way, for the winners. Let's hope they keep the answers sweet and short compared to you lot. But luckily, no one's watching here, so they don't care.
Well, maybe you keep the
anyway,
questions sweet and short,
Hey, what you
And
hire
not-
me to talk, not to not talk.
and not the 2024 iteration of Hamlet with a question mark at the end.
Okay. Well, I don't know. My Shakespeare is not the best either. So.
To be or not to be.
To be or not to be, you're not to be. Get out. Well done. Well
Aw.
done. Now clear off. Because some people have been waiting a long time to be interviewed, and one of them drives for me as well.
I
What
think
the
that's a
hell?
skill issue.
So neatly moving on then to Thomas Rashgate from Hunter Birch Simulation, who's fresh off his best finish with 5th place in race 2 here. And was it race 2? Yeah, it was race 2.
It was race 1.
Oh, it was race 1. Okay. It's 28 degrees and the heat hasn't gone away. Like I said, these houses just are built to keep in the heat. So everyone melts. Everything is melted. Melty brain. Thomas. So 5th in race 1, 6th in race
8th,
3 or 2? 8th in
8th
race
in
2.
race 2 and 6th in race 3.
Yeah, you got 6th in one of the races. It was the one we just did. So that's got to be your best day of the season by far, because you were constantly in the mix, in the top 10. And in fact, you even ran 3rd very, very briefly, I think, at the very beginning of race 3 with a great start off the line. And it really felt, and we were talking to Nick earlier. Nick said this track really clicked with him in a way that the others hadn't so far this season, or not too often anyway. And is that the case with you? Do you think you'd agree with that? The track just sort of clicked with you, and that's why you were able to get the results? Or was it just end of the season, no ballast, you were able to breeze by on the straights?
I feel like you could be a great reincarnation of the guy with the gentleman. A little few to the past. Question in Formula 1. I feel like you could do that quite well.
You're not answering the question.
No, I'm getting to it. I was having the same kind of thing as Nick, and Nick and me had a very intense fight for P23 or whatever it was. Going into this race, we were separated by 1 point, so. And somehow we both did our best weekends on the one weekend where the. Great stuff, Nick.
Yeah, we earned that. We earned it.
Wow, you sound very emotional, Thomas. It's your best
Not
weekend
really,
ever,
I'm
but
just
it's not enough.
sweating.
Goodness.
It's hot as fuck in here.
You normally I chastise you for doing that, but I've had to just talk continuously for about 2 hours because Chris Tompkins, as good a race director as he had to leave early anyway, and he's about as much use as a chocolate teapot in the commentary box. And
Well,
with
I
due
tried
respect,
to join
so-
you in the commentary box, but all the
Oh,
time
you
I
were a
heard,
bit busy.
you need to drive.
You didn't crash out convincingly enough. Boy, says Chris Tompkins. Okay, fair enough. I was going to swear, but I decided to back out at the last minute there. So I think I was quite lenient on you there. So sorry about that, Chris. I didn't mean it seriously. Like I said, it's 28 degrees, probably more like 35, the way the heat feels at the moment in this house. Right, I really need to move to a different country. But anyway.
Don't go to Germany. It's also very hot in here.
Okay, well,
Yes.
maybe nowhere is safe from the heat in the middle of June, end of June. So Thomas, you ended the season well. Do you think you're going to carry this momentum through the next season, or are you going to quit and become a full-time commentator while we get someone else in the car? What do you reckon?
You will probably need to get someone else in the car because I have plans.
Ooh,
And
plans.
I'm going to start my own team and have like 6 cars with it, and one is green and white, and the other one is gold and black. And then I'm gonna name it.
Traitorous bastard.
And then I'm gonna name it like the commentators. I think I'm gonna name it Rashke Homewood Racing or something like that.
Sorry to cut in. I thought of a great name. You could call it Bunter Hirsch. It just sounds like a name that really, has a good ring to it.
I think no, I don't quite like it. I think we should call it Hunter Birch. What do you reckon?
Oh, it sounds a bit
What would
familiar.
what would we be called then?
Huh.
Well,
What would you be called?
You can call it Birch
Birch
Hunter or
Hunter.
something.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
guess
that
name it
works.
after Joshua. Let him run the team, and then if we fail, it's all on him.
Exactly.
And I'll just continue to be the commentator again. But anyway,
That's a good point. I could have said that to you. I could have said you put the commentator in the car. What did you expect? All season long.
yeah, there we go. See, I'm giving him ideas now. That's why I'm the commentator, and you're the drive car man.
The
person.
commentator, the
We're
Road
rambling
Atlanta
a bit.
commentator.
Anyway, congratulations on your best finish, Thomas. Like you said, you got plans, but you won't share them with the audience right yet. So I assume they're not developed fully yet. You're probably still looking for a few more commentators to convert to drivers. And don't bother with me because I'm kind of busy with my own team. There's one more driver that's come to talk to us, and that is Lorenzo Oterovic. Lorenzo, I hope I pronounced your last name correctly.
Close
Great
enough.
to see you make your debut. That's close enough. Okay, in this heat, yeah, anything's close enough. If I just say a few random words and syllables, you'll have to do with it because that's the best I can do. Your first appearance, obviously, you had to deal with the success ballast in qualifying and race 1. It was a bit of a baptism of fire for you, but you finished a couple of races. You had some fun out there. I know you put a frowning face next to your name in the chat at the moment. Christian Vazquez's got a giggling face. I think it's more directed at me than you, hopefully. I hope that's just because you had to wait a long time to be interviewed and not because you didn't enjoy your time in EERC British Touring Cars.
No, I would say my time was very enjoyable. I had a lot of fun.
Well, that's good.
Since I was a kid, I remember one of my first games being Race 07, so it was nice to get
I didn't ask you
back.
for your life story, Lorenzo.
It's not,
okay,
no,
carry on.
I'm just saying it's nice to get behind the back of a touring car again after quite a long time.
Brno as well. That was also in Race 07, wasn't it?
I think it was, yeah. Either way,
we're old people because we played Race 07. Oh dear.
Either way, I had a lot of fun. My debut obviously didn't go quite as planned. After race 1, I did get some internet issues. Between race 2 and race 3, my game essentially froze, and then lining up for race 3, a lot of the grid was blinking for me. So when I accidentally hit Krzysztof on the start, I didn't even see me on mirrors. So I just decided if I'm gonna lag this bad, it'd be best to just pull to the side and not be a danger on track. Unfortunately, I did also. I feel like I beat Stanislas a bit in race 2, but other than that, I feel like I've done all right for my first time. Yeah.
Oh, certainly. We didn't see a whole lot of you on stream, unfortunately, but yeah, I think Stanislas will forgive you because he was having a pretty awful time out there even before contact with you. I think so. I think you added to his misery, but he didn't create his misery, if that makes sense. But nonetheless, it was great to see you out there. I'm sure you're only going to get better and better. You looking forward to next season, Lorenzo? Can we see you full time?
Hopefully, I won't.
You're looking for a drive.
Hopefully I won't have to run
for you.
as. That'd be nice. Hopefully I won't have to run as independent as I did today.
Hunter Birch Simulation, we take anybody. Literally anybody.
They literally took me.
On the topic of teams, really quickly, I would just like to congratulate my fellow Croatian Christian for winning the teams championship and the
Thank you.
drivers championship.
I think that's for Lloyd
Yeah.
to say thank you for.
Yeah. If anything, at least one Croatian won something this year. We all know how Eurovision and the Euros ended.
Yeah, FS2 isn't over yet. They've got a good chance of winning that as well.
That's true.
Watch this space in other championships too. As far as EERC is concerned, as I suddenly wake up now because I'm about to end the broadcast, our next race is in 16 days, and that is the EERC. Let's see, what month is it again? It's the 24 Hours of Spa, isn't it? On the 13th of July. So I look forward to that. Guess who's probably going to be drafted into service in the comms box once more. But we hope you look forward to that, and we hope you've really enjoyed watching Season 4 of the EERC British Touring Car Championship. Thanks once again to all the teams and drivers who competed, but congratulations once more to KV86 Powerhouse, Christian Vasdal, team principal, Loic Moynier, our new drivers champion, and of course Noah Turmella, winner of races 1 and 3 today, and Loic Moynier, winner of race 2 today as well. So
I'm Thomas and
it ends with a
myself.
burp. There we go. Not with a bang, not with a whimper, but with a burp. So
That's very fitting.
I've been Edward Hunter. Thank you very much to Chris Tompkins for doing the broadcast direction today at pretty short notice as well. Thank you very much, Nick Homewood, and everyone else that just joined us in the commentary box so far as well over the course of the season, including, of course, Joshua Birch, who I think did Imola, but hey, he did do a race with us. Hopefully, let's hear from Josh again next season. But thank you very much, and we'll see you soon, and we'll let you know when the next championship will start. But